Say what?
Hello and welcome back. It's time for Say What, where we hear from those connected to the industry about what's going on in our world of electrical apprenticeship. And this includes topics that you have suggested to us. So please, I beg you, keep those coming. I am your host, Cindy Sandifer. So I was at the St. Paul Electrical JATC earlier this year with Tina Williams, and we were there to facilitate a suicide prevention training. And we had the privilege of talking with Tim Garcia, their training director. During the tour of their facility, we began chatting about how they utilize their building, which then led us to their involvement with two community-based organizations that they work really closely with, and the impact it is making, not just in awareness and recruitment and retention of apprentices, but also in their city. And so as we were talking, of course, I was like, hey, Tim, I was very kind and asked if he would be willing to be a guest and share what's going on there with all of you. So now please help me welcome Tim Garcia. Tim, I appreciate you being a victim. Wait. No, not victim, a guest.
Yeah.
A guest.
Right.
On Say What. But yeah, like so many, I get to encounter such great, committed, passionate people. And I loved how I love when it's natural, right? And you were just talking and it was like, oh my gosh, you were exuding excitement for what you're doing. And that wasn't even what we were there. We were there for a training and, and a little plug here for the suicide prevention training. That's what we came to do. And then, but getting to talk with you about your involvement really in your community. I think it's beyond just the organizations, but just how much the JATC is involved with the community and people surrounding you, but then digging in deeper and saying, okay, we're actually working with community-based organizations to both support them and then also lead people into, potential career paths. So will you just share with the folks listening which community-based organizations you work with?
Yeah, sure. So we work primarily with two community-based organizations, Building Strong Communities, which is a 12-week multi-trade construction readiness program. It's created by the Minnesota Building Trades, and it's designed to help individuals from underrepresented groups, women, minorities, and veterans explore the building trades, then choose one they'd like to apply for. Goodwill Easter Seals of Minnesota, which is also a 12-week construction readiness program, specializes in training individuals that have experienced barriers to employment. Both great organizations, but as you know, there's many in your areas. So
that's great. So, and you said they're both 12-week, right?
12
programs.
Correct. Yep.
And construction focused.
They are. Yeah, that was one of the requirements that we were looking for when we chose which CBO to work with.
That's what I was going to ask you, what prompted, why did you say we want to work with a CBO? What was the reasoning behind that?
Sure. Well, everybody else, we've been trying to find ways to recruit more people from underrepresented groups for apprenticeship, but the conventional ways just weren't working. When Interim Credentials program came out, I pitched it to a bunch of high schools, and although they thought it was a great program, I couldn't convince any of them to use it. Obviously, you could tell right away that it had great potential as a pathway to apprenticeship. So we came up with another plan to administer interim credentials in-house. And we did that by tailoring it to groups that we'd been trying to recruit. So we chose BSC because we were looking for partners that had additional steps to their qualifications for programs like math, reading tests, drug and physical screening, a hands-on construction aspect. They were doing OSHA 10 and MC3 certification. But most importantly, we wanted the diversity in candidates for apprenticeship that we were looking for. Like everyone else, we still want the best candidates we can possibly get. And BSC's model has their interns travel to 16 different construction training centers in our area and spend the day doing the work that each one specializes in. their understanding of how physical construction is a very important part of their training. And BSC also has a 16-hour emotional intelligence course that teaches them how to deal with issues that they might have seen as confrontational in the past by them. We chose Goodwill because of their construction readiness program as well. And if you're like me, I thought Goodwill was only about their thrift stores, when in fact,
Yes.
the thrift stores were created over 100 years ago to fund their main operation, which was employment training. Much like BSC, Goodwill does their own form of trades exploration with the various training centers, and they have their own qualifications for their program.
That's okay. I did not know that. So we could end now. Like, I feel like I really didn't. I mean, Goodwill to me was, I saw them as a charitable organization,
Right.
like you said, the stores, but I did not realize the focus on career and employment.
Right.
I didn't know that. That's incredible.
Oh, it's
Love
a
new,
great organization. They do a phenomenal job and great
yeah.
partners.
And both, it sounds like, I think something that's really important, both are giving people a look into, and I understand it's not just electrical construction or apprenticeship, but this idea of like, go spend a day or spend this many hours
Right.
experiencing what it would be like a day in the life of a,
Mhm.
electrical worker or
Yep.
or whatever else. And so to really have that practical moment versus here's a pamphlet, here's a video, come in and take a
Right.
test or whatever.
Right. And we can tell them, what it's like to be an electrician, but until you can experience it and get out there and just see how physical it is. And, we work at heights sometimes, we work undergrounds, all different kinds of weather conditions, which, that changes quite a bit in our area. So that really helps get them exposed to it and really understand what they can expect from either program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's easy. I mean, pick any career path, any industry, and we can kind of glamorize them easily, or
Mhm.
they can look awful because we only see one side of it. And so I think the importance, maybe one thing that's missing in our recruitment and retention is that the understanding of here's the gamut of what it means to be an electrician, electrical worker, what have you,
Right.
So I think that's a really great, it shouldn't be an extra, but it feels like it is, that to
Right.
what we usually
Oh, absolutely.
have people experience.
Hmm. Yeah. It's worked out great for us.
Yeah. And you're not reinventing a wheel. Not to say there's anything wrong with, I'm all about ground up and, coming up with your own way of doing something like this, but to have these two stable, well-known, reputable organizations that have already created this and you can partner. I
Mhm.
mean, do you feel like that kind of frees you up to kind of just do what you do best?
Oh, absolutely. It's almost like, in the partnership that we have, they already have, both of them have programs. Like you say, why reinvent the wheel when it's already there? But it's one way for us to vet people out that maybe aren't quite as committed as others. Like I said, we still want the best candidates we possibly can. And if they can go through all the steps that they go through with both of those programs and then qualify to get into our interim credentials program and work their way through that, our retention rate has been through the roof since. It's been great. So it's working. Yeah. I can't
Yeah.
say enough
And that's
about both
huge, right?
programs,
Like,
and it's been a great venture for us.
yeah. And sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh
It
no,
just
that's all right.
like when you're talking, I'm like, you hear recruitment and retention, the
Yeah.
R&R, I guess, of
Mhm.
our of apprenticeship.
Yep.
But this idea of the being able to really kind of master both. But when you think about the recruitment, is one thing you're working with them, but this retention aspect of having had this much time with this potential applicant,
Hmm.
and then the IC, which, shout out to Audra Kellums on our staff.
Oh,
She's
yeah, great.
fabulous.
Hmm.
You've worked with her then, right?
Yes. Yep.
Like truly none better
Yeah.
to do what she does, and so there's another shameless plug, right? I already plugged suicide prevention. Now I'll
Yeah.
plug the interim credential and
Keep 'em
Audra
coming.
Kellums. And
Keep 'em coming.
yeah, like seriously, I mean, it is a fantastic program. So to see you
Yeah.
using, not only with your community-based organization, but then using another tool,
Hmm.
related to specifically us, not just all construction. I mean, I think that the combination, I hadn't thought of it. And I think that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, and it works great for the high schools like it was intended. For us, obviously, it had so much potential that, why not offer this to more people? And for somebody that has no background in electricity, no family members in the trade, if you can work your way through the Interim Credentials program through the 5 courses and come out the other side with a little bit more understanding about what it is to be an electrician, you're ahead of the game already. But we also throw in, our night instructors teach the course. They do labs with the apprentices or the potential apprentices, I should say, and give them a little hands-on experience with what they're working on. And then when they become first-year apprentices, they're set to go. They're ahead of where a lot of the people that we brought in are at this point.
Yeah. And what a great advantage for everyone. And not that they're getting special treatment. That's by no means what I'm
Right. Nope.
suggesting. But when you feel comfortable, because you think about anything new, right? Whether it's a new school, new community organization that you're getting involved in, right? But you walk in the door and it's scary, it's intimidating. You get the unhealthy butterflies, right? But with this,
Right.
you've got these folks that have been brought to you through an organization, and then they're getting all these glimpses, they're interacting with your instructors, with your staff, so that if and when we'll say, they do get accepted into the program, you kind of eliminate some of those jitters. I mean, there's always going to
Oh,
be
sure.
first day or whatever
Yep.
jitters, but
Yeah, they
you kind
already
of help.
know the instructors that they're going to have in their day school classes. And, the instructors benefit from getting in front of these individuals ahead of time. And we hired 3 new instructors this past year, and all of them got a chance to be instructors for the Interim Credentials program. And I think it was a great way for them to get their feet wet in front of a group that was excited to be there for one, and you know, learn their curriculum, create curriculum, build some labs. It's been a win for all of us.
Like an unintended, or maybe you did it intentionally, but it feels like I didn't know how much this would help these new instructors
Right.
to
Yeah.
have this moment. Oh, that's
I'm fortunate
wonderful.
to have the staff that I have. I've got the best staff. I just don't want to throw that out there. The JATC as a whole, and even, my committee for letting me to come up with crazy ideas and rolling with things like that. So,
Out of the
that's
box, they
critical.
like
Got to
it.
have the support there. But even with, like you said, these interns, these apprentices that are coming through, they don't have any background in the trades. It seems like they're drinking from a fire hose, in a lot of ways, but they're getting thrown onto a job site. They're learning an entirely new career in the field. They're coming to class, through being thrown at schoolwork that they probably haven't seen in ever or forever,
Mhm.
and they're doing well. They're excelling at it, and it's so cool to see the change in somebody's life. When you can offer that to them, and they see what's available to them. It's just it's amazing. Glad to be such a part of it.
Yeah, it's a whole different level of fulfillment, satisfaction, when you can see and almost feel, right? It almost feels tangible
Yes.
to see what's happening. So when you go about planning this kind of collaboration, did you find it difficult to work through the process of working with the two different
No, I
organizations?
didn't. And I guess what we did at first was I reached out to the directors of BSC and Goodwill Easter Seals about our idea and what our end goal would be. Um, Both of them, a little bit of skepticism, with both of them, just because they knew how hard it was to be accepted into the apprenticeship program. But both knew that, there was a benefit to what we were planning. And when we sat down together and worked out that plan, that said that, once their interns successfully complete the respective program on their end, then they'd qualify them for our interim credentials program. And once they completed that, they'd be accepted into the first year as first year apprentices in Local 110. So, I mean, they it was they bought into it fairly quickly after that, and it's been a great asset for us.
Mm. So the interim credential, you really feel like that was a huge factor. It sounds like because they were like, okay,
Yes.
we know it's difficult to get in,
Mhm.
but you've got this means essentially like, hey, if they complete your program with us, then we can kind of roll them into the IC.
Right. Yep. Yeah. It was, it's not without its challenges. There's some buy-in by them. There's buy-in by us. We're training them to be able to do electrical work, and right now it's been working the way it's been set up. So
Yeah. What about cost? What kind of cost does the JTC have to incur?
well, we've managed to fund this project using grants so far on both sides. We paid for a couple cohorts, and BSC and Goodwill Easter Seals have paid for some as well. We approached our vendor partners as well for help with tools and supplies. Goodwill provided stipends for their interns as well that were in the program. So really, there's ways to work around the costs of things.
Yeah, I love grants. So now I plug. Look, I
Yeah.
love my shame. I usually don't do this much. I love that I'm like totally, I feel like the little commercial, like our infomercial break. But
Yep.
Tina Williams on our staff, if people are needing some help, support, guidance,
Yep.
she's always willing to help with grant stuff.
Kudos to Tina.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Tina and Audra, like I'm talking about two of the best. But
Great
yeah,
job
this
with the
idea of
plugs,
like,
by the way, too.
what'd you say?
Great job with the plugs, by the way.
I know, right? I'm getting pretty good at this. They're gonna, yeah, I'm gonna get scooped up into the commercial world soon.
Right.
It's really it's the cost is really spread out, if you will, between
is.
grants and those community organizations. Like you've got, yeah, it's not like you all are having to carry the brunt of something.
No, and if we do incur a little bit more than we should have, sometimes we go over the cost on the grants, and that's fine by us because it's an investment and we're getting a great return.
Right. When you start talking about the retention, right, that's one of the things that we discuss where there's
Absolutely.
attrition and money lost. And so now you're saying, wait a minute, by putting in and investing dollars, even of our own, then we're seeing a huge return on that investment.
Right.
Excellent. What about volunteers? Do you what kind of staffing do you need to do what
Sure.
you all are doing?
Well, right now, like I said, we've been pretty fortunate that we haven't needed any. We've used our JATC staff for each session. Like I said, we just hired 3 new instructors, daytime instructors, so that was a great opportunity for them to be able to teach there. But yeah, other than that, no, we've done everything on our own in-house. So that cost from that too has been zero.
Excellent. And those are it doesn't always work that way. We understand, but to see it in action and so successful is, I mean, that's brilliant. It's a
Well, and the
wonderful
good part
thing.
about it is every time we bring this up, even past alumni from this program have volunteered to help out for the group. So, in that aspect, I guess, we have no shortage of people wanting to get involved with this.
And that tells you something.
It does.
Sometimes we just try to get through
Mhm.
and we might be grateful for whatever opportunity or program it was, but we're like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going back. So to have folks saying, hey, how do I now contribute to
Right.
make sure someone else has this opportunity?
Yep. Yeah, and that's the follow-up part, and both CBOs do that. Both of them follow up on their new apprentices. We follow up on them. Like you said, you have to be involved in this, or it's not going to work. And as soon as they know they have the support, especially for people that didn't have that, and maybe that was a problem why they weren't staying gainfully employed in the past. As soon as they realize they have that, they just excel. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, we can't minimize the importance of connection
No.
and support and community. I mean, we're talking about these organizations, but just feeling like you're a part of something really does change everything, right? How you see it, how you feel it. Because any industry has some amount of gatekeeping, whether it's intentional or not. It's just, this is who's always come through. So they have these potential like connections or references. And so again, whether we're doing it on purpose or not isn't really in question. It's the fact that it's going to happen if we're not really attentive. And so to say, hey, we've got folks out there, we want the best, and we've got folks out there that could be the best. We just haven't found the right way to reach them because there's just kind of been this steady stream that we've always used.
They're waiting for that opportunity. Yeah.
Absolutely. But you mentioned the emotional intelligence aspect, and I'm a huge supporter and fan of soft skills, they call them. I think it's life skills more than anything, but it's something that no matter what you do, professional life, personal life, it's important skills to grow. And I think when you're telling me that's a part of one of the programs, I think, wow, that's a huge advantage to those that are participating. And then it becomes an advantage for you.
Well, and we've had some really good feedback on from these people that have gone through that emotional intelligence course and some of the growth that they've experienced from it. So that's great to see. It's bound to do nothing but help.
Right. And so you've kind of already, I feel like, addressed it, but who or what would you say is most impacted by these partnerships that you have with the two organizations?
God, it's just been a win for everybody involved. There's no downside to it. The biggest impact is to the new apprentices that have come to us now and have financial security, livable wage, great benefits for themselves and their families, vacation and holiday time to spend together, and all in one job where most have worked 2 or 3 jobs in the past to make ends meet. Most of all, like I said, they probably don't have any family members that have ever worked in the trades, but they love the work they're doing. I talk to them all the time, and they love what they're doing, and it's exciting to watch.
And it kind of becomes, not that this is the goal, it's just a beautiful side effect, is that they then almost become part of your recruitment and marketing, because it's like, hey, they have a whole, their own circles that they're able to communicate with about our industry and about apprenticeship. And so it's, that's a great aspect.
Both programs have really grown exponentially just based on this. It's been a win for us. The CBOs benefit from fulfilling their promise of placement for their clients and a great career, and we benefit from our increased diversity in our trade. And honestly, gaining the best apprentices for our program. To date, in the past 2 years, we've started 63 new apprentices this way.
Wow.
And, like I said, you can bring people in, but if the retention isn't there, it's really not helping you.
Exactly. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. I was just going to say, this is my 40th year in the trade, and when I started, I bet it was probably about 15 years before I ever worked with a female on a job site. Oh, that needed to change. And I think we put a dent in that in our area.
Yeah. And we should absolutely celebrate those wins. We never want to get comfortable and stop, but to say, wow, 63 folks through this program, and we're now seeing this increase in the pool of apprentices. And I think the thing you said that struck me, and I know it's part of your heart too, but this idea of I'm changing an individual's life, I'm changing their family's life. I'm allowing them not just this great career, but also the vacation, the family time that they may not have been able to enjoy. Right. And if we look at our mission, it's the apprentice. It's the industry, it's helping membership and market share and all of that. But it's, it should matter, each individual apprentice, and the difference it's making in their lives. It's enormous.
It is. Yeah. It's a great opportunity for them, obviously. And, a lot of times you don't think about the family aspect of it, but, families got to be happier when they're not worrying about medical benefits and vacation, how they're going to pay for that. And it's a win all the way around.
Yeah. And it's so much bigger than just one one part, and so has this led to like other ideas and plans for your program, or just expounded on some things for you?
Yeah. In short, we're always looking for new opportunities. They're there. Just watch for them and take advantage when they come up.
Mm. And complacency can really, I mean, I have no business saying what I'm about to say because I'm such a creature of habit and comfort, but it can really be such a detriment, particularly in moments like this where you're trying to grow an industry or a
Mhm.
program, and it's just so easy to do feels like that easy button, and
Right.
but that can really keep you from opportunities like you're
Right.
experiencing.
Right. Yeah. Never get complacent.
Yeah.
Things change and the economy changes just the type of work changes. So you got to be able to roll with things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and willing to shift
Mhm.
and make those adjustments and be able to bring everybody on board. It's a whole, really, it's a collaborative
Right.
moment. All right, so if you had it to do over, if you were starting over from scratch, is there anything you would do different? Or has it really truly been, I mean, it's nothing seamless, right? We won't go there,
Yeah.
but has it really worked just as it is?
Yeah. I mean, the outcome's great. I think things are going better than we anticipated. But you do, like I said, you do need to adjust the process as things change. And who knows what that's going to be. In the beginning when BSC started with us, the first cohort had 9 applicants to our program. This last year, as the program continued to grow, we had 59 applicants and a grant only to cover 25. So, there were people that we had to turn away. But we got 25 solid new members in our IBW local here.
And that's just from that
That's just one.
effort,
Mhm.
right? That's just one effort.
Yeah.
Any lessons learned, like anything that you'd be like, yeah, here's what we've learned through working with a community-based organization, or even IC, like, that your encounters there.
Yeah, just, don't be afraid to think outside the box. You're only limited to what your imagination, basically, and we do have to be cognizant of the work picture in our jurisdiction and the overall number of apprentices that we can bring in and not have too much unemployment in the end. So we have 5 methods of entry, selection methods to our program, and we want to make sure we kind of balance those out as well. We can't take everybody from one pool. We want to be able to take people from the eligibility list, from the Veterans Electrical Entry Program, which has been great this year too. Kudos to
Good. A plug.
kudos to Greg and company, Danielle.
Yes.
Organizing has been fantastic. We've got the pre-apprentice program where we're bringing people in that way too. So we just want to be cognizant of not overloading one side. We want to draw from every method that we have so that we can continue to have the best.
Absolutely. So kind of closing us out, I guess, wrapping up, I'm listening, I'm at a JATC, and this is very interesting to me. I see this as a possibility. How do I get started? What would be some of the first steps you would recommend?
Well, if you're like us in our area, there's no shortage of CBOs available to partner with. And if there isn't, make one, I'd suggest that you look for one that has a construction model of training and willing to work with your program towards whatever you have in mind to reach both your intended goals. But like the success of our program has a lot to do with the checks that are in place to help vet those individuals that are not committed, to seeing this through or not capable of doing the work. So there's checks in there to make sure that we get the best.
Yeah.
So, and that's, the cause and effect of that, I guess, is just the improvement in our retention. Mentoring is also very important. You have to have that. We talked about that a little bit, but the JATC and the CBOs constantly remain in contact with them. We also reach out to our affinity groups, EWMC, Renew, Sisters in Solidarity, Veterans Committee. How's that for plugs?
Oh, I love it. This is the best episode. I love it.
Well, we're going to be living on royalties for a long time, aren't we?
Right. Where's the
But
kickback?
but you know, like we said, you got to remember that they're just trying to wrap their heads around learning a new career in construction, and you know, also what they're learning in the classroom. So, you know, while you're still trying to maintain a family balance, they need the support of all of us, and you know, so far we haven't had any problem with support in this program.
I love that. I love the support and mentorship
Hmm.
aspect of it, is making sure that there's this connection. So yeah, I think if folks are listening, it's like, see if you can find that organization that does have some, it's got a reputation, positive one,
Right.
and some stability and a construction focus. That might be a great place to start.
Hmm.
Rather than, unless you have to build it ground up, and then if you do,
Sure.
you do, and
Yeah.
you go from there. But
Well, the
um,
construction part of it is something that you're going to have to teach them, or anyways, you know. So if they come in with an OSHA certificate, or you know, they know their way around hand tools, or you know, maybe they built a tiny house or something like that that Goodwill does. You know, you're already one step ahead of what, you know, you might have got somebody just coming in cold off the street.
Absolutely. I put you on the spot here, Tim, but if somebody says, I would love to chat with Tim via email, phone, whatever, just to kind of, before I get going, would you be willing?
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Okay. We're going to put this out on all those infomercials, your email, your
One
phone
last
number.
plug, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, I'd be
Right.
happy to help if we can create this somewhere else. It's be happy to.
Excellent. Well, Tim, I'm telling you, your passion once again, not just in person, but even on video and audio,
Sure.
it's so real. And I appreciate your heart and your commitment to the industry, period, but certainly to those in your community and your area,
Hmm.
and what you're doing to ensure that everybody has the opportunity, right? It may not be for them, but they have the opportunity to succeed
Yeah.
if they want it.
Yep.
And it's a great thing.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff comes back on, like karma, whatever people want to call it. It's like when you give out that kind of good, it comes back. And so I know there's a lot continuing to head your way for what you're doing.
Well, I hope you're right.
It's
Yeah. We'll take
I'm
anything
always
we can
right.
get.
Yeah, right. Yeah, give me all the good karma, please. Like, I'll take it. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much. I know you're still in the throes of a couple weeks into new school year. By the time this airs, you'll be a few months in. So you'll feet will all be comfortable, but right now
Mhm.
you've got a lot going on. So I appreciate you taking time to share with us
Sure.
and give us this great information that I know people will value
Sure.
for
Happy to
sure.
do
So
it. Thanks for the invitation, Cindy.
thanks for being so willing, even though I didn't even have to twist your arm. It was great. It was
So,
great.
all you
Usually
had to do
do,
is
but
get me started talking, right?
and then you're like, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you again so much, Tim.
you bet.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you so much for your heart, your soul, everything that you pour into your program and your community and those that you're involved with. It is a beautiful thing. So keep doing the amazing work that you do. And also, since we're doing shameless plugs this episode, I do want to be grateful for the Interim Credential program, our grants, the VEEP, which is Veterans Electrical Entry Program, that the ETA has, and then shout out to those that are making these things possible, like Audra, Tina, Greg McMurphy retired, but he was, oh my gosh, like amazing and incredible with the VEEP program, and Danielle worked with him on that, and now we've got Marty and Terry, and we've got Jason Iannelli working with the outside group, just a ton of really committed folks that if you need support on any of these things, please reach out and we'll get you connected to them and help you in how these can support your program. Big thanks, of course, to you, the listeners, for taking time to join us and being a part of our Say What community. Remember that we want to hear from you. If there are topics you would like us to cover, send me an email, saywhat, that's SAYWATT at electricaltrainingalliance.org. Our next episode will drop in December. Until then, you can stay connected with us through our newsletters, blog posts. You can follow us on social media, subscribe to this podcast so you know when new episodes are out, and go ahead and tell somebody about it. Stay powered up, and we will see you next time.
Say